Hey, what is up, guys? Wallow J here. I'm here with my co-host Miguelino. Miguelino, say what's popping to the peoples.
What's popping to the peoples?
Our other co-host, he is a dream, the dream, Stephen Aiken. Dream, say hello to the peoples.
Hello to the peoples.
We got a guest.
Person.
What is going? Hold.
What happened?
I
Yeah,
don't
what
know.
happened?
I'm hearing myself again.
Oh,
Oh no!
Does somebody have the footage up?
it's nunchuck.
Nunchuck.
Yo,
Who's not using it? Somebody not using headphones?
I think we all are here.
I think I am. I got mine on. Everybody's got them on. It's nunchuck's fault.
yeah, no,
Like
I'm
everything's
here.
looping back in.
Oh God.
Oh,
Turn it down.
You can't hear me?
No, we can hear you.
Uh-oh.
All right, so he's talking about that's nunchuck.
Okay.
Welcome to Nunchuck, who's guest hosting with
hey!
us today.
Hello to the peoples.
There you go. That's the bit. That's the bit that we're running there. We also have two of our esteemed colleagues and members of the Las Vegas Kings, the
Yo.
first franchise in the Professional Grappling Federation.
That's right.
GM Travis Thomas and owner Kevin. For some reason, when I see Kingdom Kev right there, now I can't think of your last name. Oh my God. What's your last name? Kev?
Lucas.
My last name is
Lucas.
Lucas.
There we go. Jeez Louise. Thanks, Wallow, for ruining my day. Like some kind of schmuck here. I think the
Not at all.
but we're glad to have you guys here nonetheless. And that's Wallow J down there ruining the show. You know how it is sometimes. We're glad to have y'all
It's
here.
the
Though.
Wi-Fi. I couldn't help it, my brother.
You pay for the fiber, you know. So
Pay for the fighting. Totally worth it. A fiber a day keeps the stream at play.
There you go.
Yeah. I gotta upgrade because I don't know what happened there. But anyway, the looping stopped. We're good now. Sorry about all that, guys. My apologies. I am so
Praise the
sorry.
Lord.
welcome.
Hey, and so we got the legacy team, as we like to refer it.
Mm.
You know,
The OG,
the
if you
last the OG, the first team. In the PGF.
That's right.
Now, I thought that you guys were going to go maybe Nashville because you're out of Nashville, if I'm not mistaken. But you guys decided to go Las Vegas. So,
No, I
you
mean
know,
that's a great question. I don't know that anybody really knows where I live except for Travis. He's been to the Batcave. Outside of that, people just can't pin me down. Like this last year, I was in hotel rooms 7 months out of the year, so it's hard making a claim. But my official home is in Navarre, Florida, the beautiful Floribama Emerald Coast. And we decided to, we were going to go with the Las Vegas Kings initially. And then we were like asking everybody, like, hey, should we like pick a location or should we just keep New Hope Kings? And then kind of a couple of influential people, we're not going to name some names, but they were like, oh no, just go ahead and keep New Hope Kings. That's dope. It's what everybody's used to. And then Alabama Twisters came on board, Philly Phenom. And then I'm like, oh, we might have a Salt Lake team. We might have and so I'm like, oh, well, shit, we can't like be the only oddball out. So, we went with our original goal, which was the Vegas Kings.
right on, right on. I mean, it's good to always, to me, it's to have a city attached to a team name,
Hey, man.
because for your fans, they
That's
want to
right.
rep your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fight capital of the world.
Yep.
I just like this whole journey. I literally just continue to, I continue to pinch myself. The speed at which everything's coming together, the people that are coming in on board, the way that that's happening, like you can't really make it up. And like we're just every day we're just kind of like, okay, what's next? And it's going to work out in our favor every single time. And that's kind of just seems to be what's happening. So we just are plugging and chugging along, man.
So, like, what did you want people to feel when they say Las Vegas Kings?
The
Like
Las
what's
Vegas
you know
Kings.
what's the identity? Was
Yeah.
it, was the vision clear? Did it evolve? What?
It was really season 6 Brandon was like, or the end of season 6, and then for sure into season 7, BMAC was like, hey, we're thinking about making teams available to purchase. And I was like, well, that's a really interesting thought. And how does that work? How is it scalable? Is that something that's sustainable? And this was before the 5-week, 6-week season. This was still the week-long format. And so we were really kind of wondering what that was going to be like. And when he threw that out there, I pretty much was like, hey, I would love the opportunity to have right of first refusal. Essentially, I'm like, hey, if you like, I am committed to the PGF at an insanely high level. And if you guys are going to go that direction, I would love to have that conversation and be, have the chance to pull that trigger, if it works out, right? So then he was like, well, hey, I think we're going to do this. And, I talked with my wife and who's my business partner. And she was just like, we're doing it. Like, a lot of times dudes have the other experience. They're like, are you kidding me? Like more jujitsu, like more lameness, more rash guards, more gis, more classes, more seminars. What the heck are you doing? And she was just like, she was all in. She was just, and this is why when we prayed about it, our faith, my faith is really everything to me. Everything functions off of our ability to be of service to other people through God. And so I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell Brandon, these are my requirements, and this is how I'm going to frame it. And if that doesn't work as a business structure for the PGF, not good, bad. Otherwise, we can still sponsor, we could still be involved, but I'm not going to invest 7 figures and buy a team because, there's someone said it really well one time. There's all sorts of TV channels and TV shows, and there's Skinamax, right? And there's HBO, and there's Big Brother After Dark, and all those kinds of things, which can be trendy, but you don't build legacy that way. And more importantly, I'm going to take it a level deeper. You don't build familial legacy that way. And the reason that all of these other sports institutions have been around for so long is that you have a family that gets a hold of season tickets for the Dallas Cowboys and never gives them up for generations. Show me in the jiu-jitsu world or where that exists, and it doesn't exist yet. So when Brandon was like, hey, we're thinking of doing this, I said, I would love this opportunity. But here's how we have to frame it. Like, this is going to be the name of our team. This is why. And I, shared the vision and, essentially the prophetic word that I got over this whole thing, and shared my passion to create generational legacy with the PGF and be like, 50 years down the line from now, we want to be talking about how we as a team together, this PGF team, completely flipped the entire script on the grappling world, when a lot of these other institutions have had the chance to do that, and they just can't quite get there in the way that PGF is going. And so all of that being said, man, it just was really, we said yes. We shared our vision, and they were like, absolutely, it's going to be your team. You can run it how you want. You could lead it how you want. You can frame it how you want. And that was when I knew, we were just going to, move forward and take this, this thing by storm. And ultimately, we want to be in a position, 15, 20 years from now, where we had guys that were on the Kings or in the PGF, and their kids are like, I want to play in the NFL like my dad did. I want to play in the MLB like my dad did. I want to play in the NHL I want to drive stock car like my daddy did. And that is our vision. And like that's what we're doing with it.
Yeah.
So Kevin, give me three words, or Travis, give me 3 words that you think are the Kings. If you want people to think of 3 things, give me 3 words that people could associate with the Las Vegas Kings.
I would say professional, leaders, and accountable. I think like the vision with the Kings is to, not only bring in a lot of good athletes and people who are going to win the PGF, but we're really looking for people who, like Kevin said, want to establish legacy, guys that want to come in and be bigger than just athletes, people people that can be looked up to, people that can lead by example, people that when you see them at the grocery store, you know, you can stop by and talk to them and not have to worry like, is this guy going to flip out on me because he gets talked to by everybody? And right, jiu-jitsu is not at that spot yet to where it's the NFL and everybody knows who it is, but it's definitely getting to that spot. I've noticed more and more with doing the PGF that I just randomly see people who are like, oh, you're Travis from the PGF. And I honestly have no clue who they are. So that's kind of what we're looking to build in the PGF. And we figured like what better spot than Las Vegas, the fight capital of the world, and sometimes known as, not sometimes, but always known as Sin City. We would like to come in there and change that. You know, we can bring an establishment that has all these three qualities, and it doesn't have to be the regular Sin City, Las Vegas.
I just want to ask.
So, what are some of the expectations?
Are profanities allowed on this show, or is it all G rated?
100%. I mean, it's part of this show.
All right, perfect. Sorry, Mr. Dream. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted clarity on language levels.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we can do whatever. Just that kind of led into one of the things that we had down to a little bit, and either one of you guys could kind of go for this one, but like being in Vegas, you both hit on it a little bit, being in, you know, the fight capital of the world, or where, you know, lots of big fights, big events, big shows and things have happened for, you know, as long as we can all remember. What are some of the expectations that you may have felt going in and representing a city like that? Or are there any expectations being the team from Las Vegas?
Yeah, I'll start, and then I'll let Travis kind of jump in on that as well. You know, for me, the best thing is like I don't really care what anybody else thinks. First and foremost, like we're gonna run and operate and develop people, right? It's all this whole opportunity is development. Jiu-jitsu is development, right? And it is I know dudes who are more proud of their brown and black belt than they are their medical doctorate. Right? Like it was harder to get their black belt than it was to get their doctorate. And so, you know, this expectation, we get the opportunity to set a stage of family, of professionalism, of fun, right? A lot of times people think, oh, if we're not getting you shit faced and we're not getting wasted and we're not, you know, either pretending to do a line of blow off of a toilet paper dispenser, like we're not having a good time. And you know, to be honest, you know, if we really want to talk about like why isn't there legit big money supporting jiu-jitsu minus other jiu-jitsu businesses, because the reality is that in the jiu-jitsu world there really isn't big money yet, right? There's not a Coca-Cola, there's not a, you know, there's no insurance company, right? There's no Barclays, you know, there's no, and why is that? And I think a lot of that is like, man, we really get the opportunity to establish some new expectations about what jiu-jitsu can be. And we can still have a ton of fun, but it doesn't have to be about tail and cleavage, right? And it doesn't have to be, you know, kind of those things that people think it needs to be. Because again, if you can't get grandma and grandpa, mom and dad and grandkids to all come to an event together, you got nothing at the end of the day. You just got the next cycle of dudes who are like, oh, let's get high, let's do some mushrooms before we roll. And I'm a business dude, right? Like we've ran youth programs. I work with elite level pros at every sport within our stem cell company. And everybody's just like, man, are you sure you want to make that kind of an investment into jiu-jitsu? Jiu-jitsu really just it's either for the Brazilians or it's the drug addicts. And that's the overall mentality. As soon as you step out of jiu-jitsu, what is the general theme or perception of jiu-jitsu? And you either got a bunch of dudes wearing pajamas or you got a bunch of dudes wearing really crazy no-gi stuff, and they're all having a good time. Now, not all, but those are pretty common patterns. So what if we can take the best of all of those worlds and we can make something to where, like, no, if you want these season tickets, like you got to cut me a check for $1 million to get these season tickets. And that's the direction that we really want to level this up to.
I hear what you're saying. We kind of discussed at length an issue at a different show where a joke was made, and we're like, this is not how we grow the sport. This is not how we get more money.
Right.
and people thought that he was okay, that he was
Yeah.
not bad. But if you really want to grow the sport,
Right.
stuff like that has no business on air.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Trav, can you just pull up the viewership for the average NFL day? And
Yeah.
what I want to highlight is a random pay-per-view where you're going to get 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million, pay-per-views versus what the NFL does on one single day. Ricky and I were actually just talking about this. Coach Ricky Lundell is our coach moving forward. And last night, Penn State went to Wyoming. Guess how many people were in the stands in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, to watch an hour and 90-minute duel?
60K.
5,000 people in the middle of Wyoming. Like, you got to state that's a large percentage of the entire population of the whole entire state. And so that's the goal. How do we get to a point where, we, each team, the Philly Phenoms, the Alabama Twisters, the Kings, we all have these stadiums where, we got, 15, 20, 30,000 in attendance. And that's really, that's the vision that I have for this. And that's what I see is possible. I know Brandon and Keelan the same. Travis, we all have this internal feeling that this is going to explode in a way because it's being ran in a way that's actually scalable, right?
Yeah. So the average viewer for the NFL is 19 million
every Sunday.
Yeah.
Like,
so actually every Sunday is 26 million. That's the
okay.
average.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Hey, that's why Budweiser comes calling.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, like Kevin's saying, there's a lot of promotions who aren't pushing the sport in the direction that we want it to. But with the PGF being new and trying to establish this thing, it's almost like those promotions are holding the ball right on the tee and allowing us to just smack it out of the park. Like with the Kings coming in with this ideology that we want to push and that we want people to see that we can be different. When somebody does get to see the PGF, when it does get put to the masses, it's a home run every time because they see what a difference the show is. Like, one, how exciting the matches are, or how exciting the matches are. Two, how intimate the experience is. And then three, like, oh, these are professional athletes. You obviously have your guys in the NFL, NBA, MLB, whatever it may be that stick out like a sore thumb because they're acting different, but that's going to be everywhere. Right. And that does cause some drama. And some people want to see that. But what some people want to see is like, oh, I hope that guy gets shut up next week by the good guys. Right? Everybody wants the good guys to win. So when you get a shot to be put in front of a lot of people and you give them that experience, I mean, man, people stay for that.
People love Dennis Rodman.
They do. They do.
The intimate part of it, where people on the couches is really like a close type of thing. I mean, it's cool. But at some point, you're gonna have to hey, we need to sell tickets,
right?
We need to put butts in seats,
Yeah.
and move away from the, I don't want to say exclusive, but fans. We need some fans, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
We have a saying in our inner circle. We say we live in the land of and what we mean by that is that when you go to an NFL game, where does the exclusivity come from? You get in that friggin' box, right? And you have that as a tool and as a mechanism, but then you also have tickets available to the masses as well. And when you can make, I mean, and this is what we've done with stem cells too, right? Like, it was this huge exclusive thing. The only people that could do it are the super famous or the super wealthy, the athletes that are going to get it for free to be an ambassador for the company, or the dude who can stroke a check for 30 grand without any question. But what percentage of the population is that, right? It's 1% of 1% of 1% of 1%. So what if we can create this PGF opportunity from a fan base perspective, where you can bring your family, and again, from an individual team stadium, like that's going to come. Like, we're not ready to travel each week to another state or another city. We're not quite there yet. But as soon as that pops off, man, we want to have dialed in this opportunity to bring entire families together. Because guys, what keeps the jiu-jitsu schools bills paid? Is it the 20-year-old athletes, or is it the family pay? Is it the dad paying for his whole family to come do jiu-jitsu?
Yep, the family plans all the way, especially with the little ones, right? And
there you
having
go.
this opportunity with the PGF was pretty cool. Is, you know, I wanted to say this earlier, completely forgot to, but the Las Vegas Kings are essentially the founding fathers of team ownership in jiu-jitsu, right? So not only do you have the responsibility of, you know, obviously representing the PGF well, but you guys are setting the standard of what it is to have a team in this sport that we all love, right? That sometimes, you know, not going to name the name, but over the weekend there was a big jiu-jitsu tournament in town, and it was not the most exciting thing to see. Right. But what's cool is you guys get to come in and show the world that jiu-jitsu is something that can be spectator friendly, right?
Yeah.
Something that people will have something where, you know, again, you have that one little kid watching it and they tell their parents, I'm going to be in that season one day, because they see a kid like Jet Thompson going out there who, you know, Jet can't even drink a beer yet, but look at how much he's kicking butt of dudes that can, right? So just creating these
they got their
things
Travis Thomas game used rash guard and shorts hanging on their wall. Imagine that day, right? Imagine somebody's going to be crazy enough to do that.
That's right.
Yeah, I got a Travis poster right there.
Yep, no, but do you have his game used jersey?
Not yet.
Not yet, dude.
I know somebody that does.
Dang.
Is there blood on it?
Now, and that's something something that Miggy said that, you know, we really want to capitalize on too, is a big part of the sport, a big part of you know, like gyms, is the culture of the kids, and being in Las Vegas with this culture that we're trying to build, we get to bleed into the kids. And not only are the kids going to be wanting to be a part of the program, but the kid or the parents of the kids are going to see what the Kings bring, and they are going to want their kids on that as well. Because not only do we have me, who's a good athlete, or Jet, who's a good athlete, or Cam, or we got Kevin, who's an awesome business owner and a really great guy, but we also have like the likeness of Ricky Lundell and then Todd Price. And man, we really have a foundation that, you know, you want your kids to be around men like this, because we're not only going to show them how to be athletes, but like I said earlier, we're going to show them how to be better men.
Yeah. Can I share? I have a dream. I ask this people when we're working with people to potentially join Team New Hope or Team Kings, whichever, you know, vertical we're talking about. One of the things that I'll ask someone is like, man, you just found $1,000 on the ground. What are you doing with that $1,000? Right. And what do you think 99% of people say? What do you guys
if
think?
it's in an interview, they're like, I'm going to find the owner. Hopefully they'd say that, right?
Yeah, liar. Yeah. What do you think is the average experience? Someone has $1,000 that just comes into them. What do you think most people do with it?
Spend
it, man. Every penny. And if we're in Vegas, like, yo, it's like the slot machine right there. It's, you know, whatever it happens to be. And the way that our circle operates and the way that I kind of teach and coach my guys is like, when I have an extra $1,000, I immediately fantasize about who can I give the next opportunity to invite into my organization. And, you know, because the reality is, aside from having your bills paid and being able to have a place to sleep, like all the other stuff is just stuff. So what if we can funnel every penny back into, and every next level of a level up isn't a level up for Kevin or Cassandra or Travis or Coach, but it's a level up of, okay, what next role could we help someone live their dream by working within the PGF and within the franchise? And that's everything from freaking water boys to, I mean, what I just heard, a water person or a hydration expert in the NFL makes like $3,000 a week. Like it's nuts. So for me, what I think we want to be able to paint the picture of is like, man, every next little bit of level up means I can take someone like a Travis, right? Like I met Travis season 5. I was totally blown away by Travis and Cam's level of professionalism, dude, their desire to go hunt for the freaking win and for the body. Like more than anything else is like no butt scooters, like no, like none of that kind of stuff. And everybody's got their game and that's okay. But every nanosecond that Travis and Cam were on the mats, it was like, no, I'm going to go get you. I'm going to take you down and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to do what I want to do from there. And that's the mentality that we want to have to grow this thing is, man, if I can, every next $1,000 that we could be profitable, we want to funnel that back into hiring the next person, whether that's a side job, whether that's a full-time job. And as we do that, we can have guys that were like, yo, I got to compete on the Kings. Now, is there some job opportunities? Or I'm so blown away by what this is. Like, how can I be of service to the PGF? And that's my vision for all these teams is, man, we just get to be the next, you know, sport where we need help in all these different ways. And that really is my goal. So my weird fantasies, and people think this is really boring, is helping other people step into an organization and paying them to do what they love to do. Because there's a lot of dudes sitting in a cubicle that hate their freaking life. And what if we could shift that and change that for people? And that's what I want the Kings to be about, is generational growth in every possible way.
You know, fuck, hire me anyway.
Look, I know a guy. Really
I know a guy.
Yeah,
But
he's done
you're
lots of
talking about
photographs.
giving opportunities and stuff like that. You brought in also another coach that hasn't been announced just yet. Travis just mentioned him.
Yeah.
How did that come about with Todd?
Yeah. So Ricky was like, we're gonna need the correct culture around us. If we can get like our core group, Travis, myself, Ricky, and then he has worked with Todd they've known each other for a very, very long time. They've coached together. They've worked in business together. They've got some other projects that we can't really discuss going on with each other right at the moment that are unbelievable. And so when Ricky was like, hey, this is going to be my guy. And I was like, man, I trust your judgment emphatically and 100%. And as I met Todd the first time and we had multiple interviews and I got to talk with his wife and them as a family, we just knew that they were going to be such a great fit. So let's say we get that 22-year-old, 23-year-old, or let's say we get a 30 or 40-year-old who just didn't really get the opportunity to get a lot of good leadership, right? If the team is focused on, we're actually going to skip practice today to go to open mat someplace else, what kind of a community is that building and is that developing? It's not. But if we can have 5 or 6 solid guys and we get 2 guys on the team that might not be all the way there yet, think about how easy that conversion is into leveling up versus if you hang out with a bunch of dudes who are drinking every night and you're trying to be an elite level athlete, guess what you're probably going to do more than likely, right?
Do you feel like you have like maybe like a responsibility with these guys when they're coming in? You know, maybe try to keep them away a little bit from the Vegas Sin City style lifestyle.
Yeah, that's Trav. Why don't you step into that question as a young strapping man?
So listen, you don't have to be young for temptation. I'm 50 and I go to Vegas and I'm like, no, I know that if I go there, I'm gonna be broke. So no, I'm not going there.
You're asking how we're gonna deal with the temptations?
I mean, do you guys have like maybe like a sit down with the
Yeah. So that actually brings up a good question. Just like last season, before the draft, before we got to meet the athletes in person, I reached out as the general manager to all the athletes on the roster to have a sit-down conversation with them. I have a list of questions that I run through, just some personal questions on how much do you train? What do you do for work? How do you plan to travel? Like all these questions, which the further and further we get into the season, like this season, we plan on getting the Airbnb so everybody's at the house. We have a vehicle so that everybody will ride together. I potentially will be staying at the house with the athletes, so there's always somebody with the athletes that we can not necessarily keep an eye on, but I mean, you got to think, like you just said, this is a city of temptation, and there's always a way, or there's always a reason to go do something. And if you have a leader there who can just guide you on saying like, oh no, man, like tonight we're just going to stay in and do some things, it's going to be a lot easier when you allow somebody the freedom, 18, 21-year-old in one of the biggest cities in the world, to just say, hey, you're here, go do it. Like it's hard to say that that person won't do something. So yeah, we're just really establishing who are the guys that we're going to bring on the team. We're going to vet everybody throughout the season to make sure that we are bringing in the guys. Because like we said before, we're not just looking for the best athletes. We already know the PGF isn't necessarily the best jiu-jitsu player, but it's the most exciting. We're looking for people to put on a show. Of course we want to win, and we are going to look for our number one spot. But there is a guy out there who is good enough on and off the field that we can get on the team. So one, we're going to vet them. Two, we're going to be around. And three, we're going to support them as much as we can to allow them to make the better decisions. So they don't have to make decisions on their own, but we've already got everything figured out.
Yeah, that's
Chuck,
a great.
what do you want to say?
Oh, me, man.
I saw you falling asleep. Sorry,
We're talking about behaving. That's what we're talking about, behaving. I was thinking
he's
about.
like, I don't behave, dog. That's making me
He's a
tired.
bad
I
boy.
was thinking about how Nick Saban used to have Alabama like stay in Birmingham on like nights of home games so they can party on campus.
Right.
That's what I was daydreaming about.
Yeah, it's Waylo said something that was really powerful, is that, I mean, we're all human. We all have our temptations. We all have the things at which, when I'm stressed, when I'm away from home, and this 6-week season is a different monster, right? Like think about the average experience. Okay, I'm going to go compete in the Naga. So I'm going to work, or whatever the promotion is. And we're not talking down about any promotion, because we need every level to progress people through the levels, right? And the NFL or the other major league sports have done a really good job of, man, they got into the school systems, they got into the youth programs, and then it's junior high, then high school, then college. Like that's the feeder program. So as we work to do that, the reality is if you look at all pro sports, from the coaches to the athletes to the water hydration experts, like we all can be tempted. And now that you're staying in Vegas for 6 weeks, you're missing your family. Trav and I were out there, we stayed out there the whole time. And in addition to working our King stuff, we were doing other work as well. So, we'd go on the weekend and go do stem cell seminars, and we'd come back, and it's a lot of effort out. And so the goal really is creating this community for people to have other options. And grown dudes are going to still sometimes not make the best choices, but if we can give them some more options of what is possible, that's the goal.
Yeah,
Man, speaking of the youth, go ahead, man.
No,
No, I was just saying, speaking of the youth, man, they did the qualifier in Auburn. Had the little twisters, man. It was pretty dope to see. Stephen was there, the kids tournament, and just having that getting the youth involved and getting that pipeline going of the talent is gonna be fun to see
for sure, man. Seeing that definitely would try to cut you off, but that being there, announcing that, and then I would do like it was a very small space compared to kind of what we do in general. It's not that big at the secret location, really, but at Cage Fit for the little twisters thing, like I just kind of looked over my shoulder and the kid was kind of standing back there, and we kind of made that eye contact I talk about with you guys, Travis. And it's like you see that they're ready, or they're really into it, and then I immediately just kicked into full on just like pay-per-view, like go mode for these kids or whatever. And you could see they really like enjoyed it so much that they were getting that like opportunity to be on a show or whatever that is. And like, maybe, being a twister one day or whatever is something that they'll remember because of this day, because somebody got to announce their name. Right. And that's the first time somebody ever really like put their name out there like that. That like for a kid, that's such a crazy thing, and one experience like that could really set you on a different path. So I think that's great, Nunchuck, that you brought that up, because that really was like a cool thing, and it ties into what you were saying, Kevin, about maybe being in the schools and like, the team spirit thing that we all get through, the high school footballs or whatever that is like that. The culture could use some of that somehow. We have that, but it's more of the tribal lineage association kind of thing, more than just like, hey, we all live in, Las Vegas. Let's all be like, we're all one team for Las Vegas. We all play football, but we all play
and
different
that
places.
and that for me is why I've invested such a huge amount of money, and I'm hyper focusing on the PGF. And in the last 5 years that we have been heavily investing into jiu-jitsu, IBJJF, Toro Cup, Subversive, PGF. There's a bunch of other smaller promotions that we've sponsored and supported over the last 45 years. And the standout for me is literally how PGF creates this place where everybody gets to be here, and there isn't that tribal stuff. Like, even with the individual teams, we're having an owners meeting the other weekend, and we're all just hanging out, having a good time, and talking about how we can help each other's teams develop at a business level, at a jiu-jitsu level, at a whatever it happens to be. And that's the secret sauce that I think Brandon and Keelan have really brought into play. And for those people that get, like, we've done them all. Like, we've been at every kind of jiu-jitsu function overall, and it's still that tribalism, and it's still like, oh, well, if you go over there, you can't come over here, and if you do that, you can't come over this way. And I think about this opportunity to grow PGF in the fact that we got the qualifier coming up in Dallas next weekend on the 20th, and I was looking at how many 10th Planet schools in Texas as a whole. And Texas as a whole doesn't really have a whole lot of 10th Planet stuff. And this really hit me when we were talking about it. Like, well, man, maybe it's going to be a little bit lower attended. We don't know yet. We still got, 6 more days to, get some more, people to come to the qualifier. But when Master Pedro Sauer came out for season 7, he didn't even know what PGF was. So the reality is, especially the gi side of the coin, most of these people literally do not know what the PGF is. And then they see it and they are like, what the hell is this? This is unlike anything else that we've ever seen. And so that's what I love most about this opportunity, is that, man, we just get to grow this thing and we get to educate people about it. And what I love about all you guys is that you guys have the shoulders to be the point of the spear, right? That's what it takes to grow an organization. And so many people don't have the bandwidth to be able to do all of the work. That means you're not getting paid for 99% of what you're doing on the front end to carry that thing forward and bring a new idea to market and to show it. And we're all doing it because we love it. And then there's those of us crazy enough that we're dumping a huge amount of money into it. I mean, I could have bought a Chick-fil-A, and I could have bought a Wendy's and a Subway for $1 million, folks.
Bro, you had me at Chick-fil-A. What's up?
Right? like the reality is at a 7 figures, that's 2 Chick-fil-A's. And guess how often that shit's wrapped around the drive-through? Every
All the time.
Every day.
Yeah.
So
I drive past it because it's too
when
busy.
a couple of my business mentors were like, what the F are you doing? Like, you're going to invest 7 figures into this thing that's been around for like 5 years and it's not really doing anything.
That makes you sound really crazy now, Kevin.
This is what, like,
you just said that. Damn, you're crazy.
You
bro.
crazy, yo. So,
you crazy.
but the vision of the legacy that is possible with the PGF that isn't yet possible with most of the rest of jiu-jitsu as a whole is really there. And we're very blessed that, we have Ricky Lundell coming on, and he made a really good point to me the other day. Wrestling has been around for 100 years. And every night that a duel is running, those fools got $5,000 to $15,000 or 15,000 people in the seats. They got pyrotechnics going off. They got so the model is there.
I'm ready.
We
ready.
just get to do it in jiu-jitsu. We just get to do it in jiu-jitsu.
Listen, I don't want to,
I've been screaming stuff like that, Kevin. Y'all give me some pyrotechnics.
Listen,
I'll spin, I'll jump, I'll do a flip.
I was gonna say, let's not get too crazy.
In all seriousness, you should talk to that man upstairs right there. He has some ideas. I mean, we've talked about, the feeder system. We talked about, the high school, the college, and all that stuff. And he's got awesome ideas. So, if you got some stuff, run it by this guy right here.
Yeah. We're gonna keep hammering all that stuff to the higher ups and get it through as it works
That's right.
out, right? We haven't had time necessarily to put all those things in order, but I think that we've talked about, like at the owners meeting, I was there and able to be there. And Kevin referenced that, talking about the teams, and it was more like we are one team of different teams, right? It's not like we're opponents,
Right.
except for in the games that we play. We're all the same team as far as growing this thing. The league, the idea, the spirit of the PGF and the Las Vegas Kings will be the Phenoms and the Twisters, and you know the New York or Salt Lake or Atlanta or
Oh, y'all heard about New York, the
whatever,
New York
New
Syndicate?
Orleans or whatever it is that happens next. It's really great. You threw me off then while
He was on a roll.
down. You're fired. What was I saying, Travis? Tell me again.
Dude, I was so into
He
it.
zoned out
I
too.
was so into it.
Wallow.
I just said, I heard about that New York Syndicate,
Well,
and he was
yeah.
cool. My bad.
You're basically just talking about how we're all one team, besides.
Yeah, one team, one dream, basically. Like, it was really cool to be able to be there and hear everybody's going towards that same kind of goal. And so we've all been talking about different ways to grow it, and we all kind of agreed that we needed, asses in seats, like we talked about earlier. We
That's
needed
right.
some sort of
Yeah.
production for people to be able to get there and have that fandom,
Right.
so that way mom and dad and grandma and everybody can have those tickets to the show, to the game, to come watch their team play, which, may or may not have anybody they've ever met on that team, but they represent a feeling that they have, which is maybe their city, or maybe it's their area, whatever that is, their area. Or the Kings have, morals and, ethics and a code that we want more people in the athletic world to live by. So we want to be Las Vegas Kings no matter what city that we live in. And that's okay too. So that's the thing. Everybody's going to get to have their own flavor there. And it's cool. Everybody's on the same team. We're going to get the pyrotechnics. Well, that's the end of the.
That's right.
That was it.
And one of the things that I just pinched myself with, like, we're living in this time period where we're all getting to do this together. There's clearly something behind this that is unprecedented, and we get to participate in something that kings or queens never had access to or got to do in the way that this is. Dude, it's a Sunday night. It's cold as whatever outside, and we're all here talking about jiu-jitsu, right? Like, we're not out trying to figure out how to, bust open the ice to get water for our horses and our family and our kids. And so I don't take this opportunity lightly in regards to, we truly can shift and create an opportunity for all of these people to be engaged in a way that is just a dream come true. And for me, the team aspect of this is what's so important, because I know most academies, they do function like a team. True. But sometimes when what I've observed, right, as I'm still developing my jiu-jitsu knowledge and experience overall, is, like when we had Cam Hurd, it's like in season 7, Cam, like, your job is to make sure they don't get any points, right? Like, that is your role this match. Like, how can you figure that out? Bandage all over his head and blood coming out everywhere and nonstop movements. And so that also requires a different kind of a jiu-jitsu brain, right? There's dudes that are really good at mats, at open mat, going to the competitions and showing up and leaving. But what this level of engagement, the Professional Grappling Federation, requires is that you want your team to develop as badly as you want to get into that, playoff role with those top 8. And as we look for guys that have that mentality, I think the consistency of being an upper top team is going to be that has to be the core of every team. Like, if you want to be a top producing team every year, and making it, having more of your guys into the playoffs than less, you got to want your team to thrive, which means, man, what is my role today? What is my role this week? How do we support, the Kings as we're going against, this next block is the Twisters, and oh man, it's going to be a grind, like, or whatever. So that's what I'm excited about too, is just this team development that is kind of there, but isn't all the way there.
So then that goes into one of the things I have down over here about your draft strategies and things like that. So when you guys are going into the draft, what kind of things are y'all looking more at? Is it the talent of the athlete? Is it the mindset? Or is it more about how they'll fit maybe with the Kings culture? Because maybe they are a specific kind of tough mindset for grappling or the PGF, but maybe that doesn't quite fit with the culture of the Las Vegas Kings here. So would you pass on the number one athlete if maybe he's not someone that has the Kings type of what's the word I'm looking for? Demeanor, I guess.
Mentality. Mr.
Yeah,
Mr. GM, why
mentality.
don't you go ahead and answer that for us?
Yeah, I think Ricky's got a really good hold on this, and Ricky is a very established grappler and has actually a crazy story if you look into it. You could just read a quick bio on Wikipedia, and it's kind of crazy. But Ricky is brought up under Chael Sanderson, and Chael Sanderson has a really good view on, he teaches people how to wrestle. What he needs is guys who are going to come in there and be a team. He's looking for a culture. We're looking for people who can come into this. Everybody who's in the draft is going to be pretty good at jiu-jitsu, right? We're getting away from like the super dunkables to where there's like a top half of the roster and a bottom half of the roster. And you see it when you start having the alternates come in, that there's a little bit of a discrepancy in skill, but for the most part, everybody in the draft has their pros and has their cons. So we're looking for somebody who will fit into the realm of the Kings, somebody that we can say, okay, yes, this guy, maybe he's not the number one seed, but this guy right here, this is who you want your kid to be like. And we, having 6 weeks, we can fill this guy into the spot that he needs to be in, whether that is, we need you to block a point, or we need you to go out there and get a kill. So I think we're definitely looking for a guy who fits the culture more than just has all the skills.
Yeah. And I that 100% every step of the way. And I respect, like, everybody has the opportunity to live life the way that they feel called and to connect with friend groups that are similar to them. And, there's the Raiders and there's the Seattle Seahawks and there's the Patriots, and, and everybody has, for whatever reason, on why they're called to a team. And we need guys that want to build that leadership dynamic, but are also, coachable in life as well. Because what I'm requiring these guys to do is to be examples to other people of what's possible. I don't know how many you guys that truly just live their dream life. Like if I mean, just are like, every day I get to wake up and do everything that I love to do all the time consistently. And we need more. I want to be a place where someone could be like, I want to just go hang out with those guys, man. If I got to sweep the fucking floors, excuse my English, if I got to sweep the floors, there's something about these dudes and these men and women in this organization that I want to be around, because just hanging out with them feels like a breath of fresh air from how hard this rock is. This earth is not an easy place to be. And so, and we got to have dudes that want to entertain. That I didn't really understand until Brandon was like, what good does it do us to have some guy who comes in and gets a 3-second tap every single time? Because at the end of the day, what's going to sell tickets when we get to that point? It's not the 3-second tap. There has to be a level of gamesmanship and entertainment, but we can do that in a good way, or a way that fits for our culture. So, Ricky's going to be able to coach the jiu-jitsu, the heck out of the jiu-jitsu, but we really want guys who want to jump into the team, want to lead other people, but most importantly, really want to be entertaining. Right. Ricky said something really powerful to me 3 weeks ago. And he's like, one of the tools that I use when I'm recruiting is that I'll show them their last match, whatever it is, no matter what the sport is. And he coaches some pretty high level people, if you know what's up. And he'll just say, would you pay $100 for that pay-per-view? And I was like, oh, damn. Like, and if you wouldn't pay $100, how the hell do you expect to ask someone else to sit and watch your match or pay the money to be your fan? That for me was an unexpected, like, holy smokes, right? Like, that's that has to be part of the play to create this league, is to make it entertaining. And I brought 4 different guests for season 8, and every single one of these dudes have been to the highest sports events on the planet. Guess what every single one of them said about the PGF?
It was the best thing they ever saw.
Literally the
entertained.
best sporting event and entertainment event they have ever been to in their entire lives. And these dudes have had box seats in like the dance, right, for all of these different avenues. And I'm like, man, like I see it, but these guys who are not jujitsu dudes also see it. And that's what we want on our team is loyal, ethical leaders who really want to be able to entertain and then share that vision with other people.
Now, I think I know the answer, but I'm still going to ask. Would you ever deviate from that vision to possibly win a championship? Like, there's a dude that
Good question.
there's a dude that's just tapping everybody, and you know that if you put him on your team, he's going to get you points every night. Would you ever sacrifice your, you know, the way that you do things to bring this dude in who's not might not be like a team guy?
In our interview process, if I felt there was room for him to develop, maybe. But I look at this, I'm looking at this investment for 50 years down the road from now. Now, we want to have success along the way, but I'm unwilling to jeopardize Travis's livelihood and name and reputation. I'm not willing to jeopardize Ricky and Todd's name and reputation and the work that they've developed to be able to get a dude to just win one season. Like I have no interest in that. I come from I was my upbringing was not super easy, and the opportunity to develop is everything. Like, okay, great, you can put points on the board and you can win, and we find another Ryan Aiken and who was great, right? Like as we say this, but I would not choose a guy who is not a good fit just to win that championship. So the answer is no.
And that's not saying Ryan Aiken was any of those bad things.
100%.
You're just saying he was such an elite player.
Yeah,
you were comparing the eliteness.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to make sure everybody
Yeah.
loves Ryan.
That's what I was meaning by
For
that.
sure,
And this
for
is
sure.
something
know
that I told
that was-
this is what I told BMAC on the front end. I said, look, I am all in. Like, I will donate plasma if I have to figure out how to come up with the money to pay someone or to do something that I need to do. Like I will figure it out. What I'm unwilling to do is idol worship. There is no other human being on the planet that I'm going to put ahead of anybody else. And if they can't get on board with that, like, why do we want them around? Like, if they don't want to be on board or they get a bad call and they have a meltdown, and it's one thing to be emotional in the moment, but it's another thing to, this is bigger than, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than Travis. This is it. We want to develop. I'm looking at how can I possibly protect the PGF, right? This is the mindset that I have, is what do I need to do to protect the PGF? Because if we can provide this opportunity to kiddos and show them that you could do this someday, think about the thousands of kids that we keep from going down another path that can stay focused on a dream and a goal. And I don't do that if I just am willing to sell out. And everybody has their strategy, and it's not to say that there aren't going to be some dudes who are going to rack up 90,000 points like Ryan did, in season 7, and it wouldn't be awesome. Ryan was a good combination of, he was a good fit and was a point monster. But yeah, we look bigger. We look bigger picture. Where are we at 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? More importantly, where I'm 47. So God willing, I get to do this for 50 years. Like, man, I'm that's my goal. Like, two main goals. How can I be here to help raise my great grandbabies, my third line, my third generation? And how can we be here in 50 years to keep scaling this PGF so it is the thing on the planet to do?
Stem cells, baby. I know a guy.
All day. Hey. All day.
So-
that juice.
So, Kev, what is maybe one of the biggest misconceptions that people may have of being a team owner? in the PGF? What
Oh,
is,
that I got like $4 billion to just do what I want.
since you got
They're
the
like,
team now, you're unlimited on
yeah,
income.
right. Yeah, there's this perception of like, and my wife and I have been playing with this idea of like, sometimes instead of telling people that we own stem cell companies or healthcare clinics, the thing we say is like, oh yeah, I own a sports team. And then like, dude, like, oh my God, hey, can I get you an extra appetizer? Like, do what you're like, there's all this crazy stuff. But this is the biggest misconception, is that my mother-in-law actually said this one time. She worked for a lot of years in the RV industry, and she said a lot of people can afford the payment to buy the RV, but they can't afford the $1,100 when the tire blows on that RV. And so it's all they can do to just have it, let alone like use it the way that it's intended to be used. And so that's the thing that, I would just tell people, like, one, just because you have a team doesn't mean you're a gazillionaire. Two, you can have an amazing thing, and it doesn't mean that everybody's ready for it right now. And it's going to take some time for that seasoning to happen, and for the older school geek guys to be like, oh my gosh, that's actually really cool. Like, how could I get my kids in that? And so the term is called delayed gratification. And that's something that I am really obsessed with. I'm good with it. And a lot of people aren't. They would take bad money, they'll take mafia money, they'll take, less than reputable money to have success in a short term, but they're not then thinking about, so if I make a bad decision, now Travis has got to find something else to do, right? Ricky and Todd got to find something else to do. Our athletes got to find something else to do. So, that's I look at how can I protect this and in every possible way. But that's the thing. Like, everybody's like, oh my gosh, where's your Bentley? I'm like, well, I don't know.
It's
And
in the
then I guess
shop.
along those lines, then sorry, that gave me another kind of thing. And this more maybe me as a little bit younger man than you, but somebody who's definitely less experienced in the business world than you are. What are some maybe mistakes that you made that you can kind of share with us that other people could look out for, or maybe try to avoid when they're building things for themselves?
Are you talking about a team, a
In
PGF team in
business,
particular, or
or
in business
team, or
in
yeah, just
particular?
maybe like a general concept for you as a business person.
Man, you need a coach. You need a coach. You need a mentor. You have to have someone who has been where you've been, and has a legacy vision. And if you're working with, because the people confuse a successful chapter for a successful system and process. Those are two totally different things. Maybe I happened to find a widget and make a widget, and the widget was popular for this window, and then the widget goes away. And that's what that's what I agree. He does look like he feels that role.
I look it.
It's true. And
I don't feel it.
So what I would tell people is you need to find a coach who can help you at each stage of where you are. And if you can find that, then do everything you can to sustain that mentorship. Because that so many people are just like, I'm going to go on Shark Tank, or I'm going to spend this money on Instagram ads, or I'm going to, buy all these rash guards, or they're going to sell. Right. And like, oh man, I bought a fair amount of stuff that was new up stuff, and we still got it. Right. So, find a coach, find someone who wants to mentor you, and wants to develop you and your family, and not just earn a profit off your business.
That's great. I like that.
I would say from being around Kevin, especially pretty heavily in the last 6 months, I've got to see that firsthand on people who do have coaches. And it's funny, like, I've never thought about this idea before. And then I started to hang out with Kevin, and I got this idea where he's like, hey, you need a coach. I will be your coach. And Kevin would possibly be my coach or mentor at the moment. And I got to see as we gone through, and I look at very successful people, and almost every single one of them has the same statement. Like, oh, how did you get successful? Oh, well, I have a coach. Everybody needs somebody to lead them. Not necessarily because they can't do it on their own, but it's like when you're a parent and you tell your kid something, and your kid's like, whatever. But then that kid hears that same thing from an older adult who tells them, they're like, oh my gosh, that's great. It's not that you don't want to listen or you can't do it on your own, but when somebody sees it from their own perspective, just a little like an outsider vision, they can give you they can give you a little bit better handle.
Travis, have you been married? I mean, it sounds like you're dropping some serious right now.
Oh, talking about that. I'm gonna go argue with my kids right now. Did y'all hear what this man just said? You should be watching my show, listening.
I think at some point we're all guilty of that, because I know I have been. I mean, my mom used to tell me X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, get the hell out of here. Somebody else tell me X, Y, and Z, I'd be like, okay.
Then you come back and tell your mom, listen to what I learned. And she's like,
yeah. And they'd be like, pendejo, I told you that already.
Yeah, that's one of Brandon's favorite things about his saying. I guess it's in the Bible. I don't want to misquote it, but like, no man can be a prophet in his own city.
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of quote. It's that same kind of thing. You get so comfortable with someone. Maybe you've seen their mistakes, you've seen their flaws up close. So maybe you don't quite trust their vision as much as you would someone that you see as an other, that has achieved things, but you don't see the person that's as close to you always as that same like caliber, because you've seen a lot of their mistakes. Maybe
right.
Something I've thought about a lot that's interesting along those lines.
Yeah, and for us, it really comes down to like I don't know how to be 50, right? Like I've never been 50 before. I'm 47. And so, this idea, like once we turn 18, then we got it all figured out. Well, no, like our brains literally are changing so much. And then when you're going through the different chapters of life, like and this is what jujitsu does, right? This is why I'm so obsessed with supporting the jujitsu world, is that it provides this family that doesn't exist for a lot of human beings. Like they go home, they don't have a support group, they don't have, people that believe in them, they're not helping them set and achieve goals, right? Like, I mean, this is our favorite conversation. Like the people that I hang around, we don't really talk too much drama on what's on TV and that kind of stuff. We're like, man, what are you working towards right at the moment? Like, what are you setting and achieving goal? What are you working towards right now? And when you can do that, and that has to be learned through example. Like all of us were 20, and how many dudes tried to help us out? Like, man, save some money, invest your money, just buy an ounce of gold. Like, man, if I would have bought 1 ounce of gold at $3.20 an ounce 15 years ago, and it's now 4,200 today, right? So how can we set and achieve goals? And we can only do that through seeing other people, accomplish those things. And then that really is what I get most excited about, because I'm still figuring it out, and I'm a mess. I'm a hot mess. Like Travis has been around enough to know that like I'm not perfect. And a lot of what I talk about and do is because I still struggle with a lot of my own challenges, right? I went to 7 different schools by the time I was in the 6th grade. I went to 12 different schools and daycares by the time I was in the 7th grade, if you include all the daycares I went to. A lot of my family are addicts and alcoholics and struggle. Like, man, have had some terrible things happen to them, and life is tough. And and we've all had stuff. Like, that's the reality. Every human being deals with a lot of challenges. And so if I don't get to look at what else is possible, I get stuck in thinking like this is it forever, and then there's no other possibility. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to work out the way that I think it's going to work out. Shit, I bought a Mega Millions ticket for Saturday night. It was a Billy, right?
Shit. I did too. I gotta check the numbers,
bro.
Dog. If you see a sudden onboarding of like 5 other teams come next week, like you might know where some of that money went.
Dog.
Right? But anyways, like it really is. We're owning a whole league. And so how do you set and achieve goals? And do you have people that want to do that? And some people don't. Some people want to go home and watch 5 episodes of Ice Road Truckers, and that's okay. They're just not ready yet.
What is it?
Right? This guy knows
What's
ball.
the show?
Ice Road Truckers, bro. That's some deep rabbit hole television, man.
That's right. He knows ball for sure. He's out there. We had a question from one of the people in the chat too that I think is a good question too. So it's a little bit off of like the line that we're going, but it'll pull us back maybe towards some of the stuff. What are your thoughts on maybe the 3 qualifier winners so far? Have you guys been watching them? Do you have any looks at those guys yet? One of them is a friend of the family, so to say.
Yeah. We haven't seen the third qualifier, the one that was just done in Pasadena. They're making it like a release after, right? But the 2 qualifiers that we got to see, something. Okay, Sam Schwartz.
Is that who it was?
Yeah, that's who won it.
Dang, I just put my interview with Sam up yesterday or whatever that was too. That was completely random. That's cool.
How crazy. Yeah, something that we were pretty excited about. And if you go back and watch each qualifier, what they say is both of those guys want to be a part of the Kings, and it shows the establishment that we've already created. And I think that we got to vet these guys. We see what they did, and yeah, it looked great. They both looked, the 2 that I got to watch, they both look like very good athletes, but I haven't got to speak to either one of them. And that's going to be the most important thing, is getting to talk to them and seeing what they think and how they feel. And basically, how do they live their life? And so we have seen the skill level, and yes, we're interested on that. But again, it's more than just skill.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's more than skill. And I was really bummed out, this last season. We were approached to draft day for the 2025 season by a guy, and he's like, I'm gonna be the guy. He came over, one of the few fighters that actually introduced himself to everybody, like handled himself really well at that draft day media event for last season, and then like just had a bad called against him and totally broke down, right? Like I that was a bummer. Like, and Travis I was really bummed, right? Like I was really, the guys were upset. Like it was not how we wanted everything.
Bummed out.
Yeah, totally bummed out. And so I was just like, man, and we tried, like we really, and he had his principles, right?
You had
and
fans, like that's
okay,
it. This guy, if you're paying attention still, you had fans. You
for
have
sure.
real people that were watching for you that were
Right.
really buying into your story. It wasn't Kevin wasn't just trying to blow you up and make you feel good or any of that stuff in those meetings. There were several people that also reached out to me, Wallow included, who's down here now speaking for it himself, that were into you. And man, that was a drop ball for sure. Like,
yeah. So this year, this year, now that we've been through a 5-week season and we have a better questions to ask this go around, because I don't think everybody realized how hard 5 weeks out in Vegas was going to be. Right. It was like, okay, well, it's going to be, Monday through Thursday is the regular season. Friday will be the playoffs and the draft, and then everybody's out. Right. Well, shit, like practice and training and leadership and time together and all the other life stuff that's happening, and you're missing your family. So those are going to be some questions we're going to be putting to some potential draftees as we move forward to add to Jet and Cam.
Yeah. Everybody says, oh, now the PGF's not as hard. It's not a gauntlet. And maybe physically it's not as hard because you're not going 100% 5 days in a row and then having to show up for the finale. But with the longer season comes different difficulties. And that's like Kevin saying, one, we're in Vegas and now you have 6 weeks of temptations instead of just a week. Everybody can lock in for a week, cut everything else off and be fine. But now you have temptations. Now, again, you're away from home. Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a wife? Do you have kids? What does that look like? So yeah, like Kevin said, we have a lot better questions to actually vet people this year. And it does kind of suck when you think you vet somebody or somebody presents themselves in a certain way and then come back and kind of go against that. And it kind of did stink too, because the narrative that got played after was that we didn't do anything to save the athlete, that we stuck with the promotion and we just let them do what we want. But I mean, no one knows the behind the scenes. I mean, we definitely fought to make that call as right as we could. Me and Kevin I've never owned a team. This is Kevin's first time owning a team. Neither of us have ever owned a promotion or a sports league. So like we can only do so much, but we definitely fought as far as we could until the answer was the answer. And, it sometimes kind of stinks when the narrative gets built different from the person who's already created 2 different narratives.
Yeah.
Okay, let me backtrack a little bit.
Uh
With
oh,
this yeah, this is a curveball completely.
another
With
one.
this happen, with this happening, with this happening last season, let's say this person's back in the draft. Would you take a chance on this person again, or
No.
would you be like, nah?
No, and here's why. Really, at the end of the day, there was no coachability. He was not interested in counsel or coaching. He was 100%. I made up my mind. This is what I'm doing. I already told the team. I already told Drysdale. I just got back from the gym and went up and showered real quick. Came downstairs and was like, did you already make your decision or would you like counsel? And he's like, I already made my decision. And so I didn't say anything for like 5 minutes. I was cooking my eggs, and I was just like, honestly, I was a bit heartbroken because I was just like, man, dude, you have these fans, your team, like it's this thing. And so, here's where we're at. We're at a spot where every year as this accelerates, you have dudes that will literally donate plasma to come out and to figure it out and to be out there. And so had there been like some kind of like, man, I want to have a conversation, like maybe I didn't handle that the right way, like I'm always like, God, I deserve the cross. Like the reality is like, I don't deserve this life that I have, but God gives me grace every freaking day for me messing up and yelling at the dude when I'm in my car because he cut me off and all the things, right? Like I screw up every day. And so, but you have to have people that want to be involved in a bigger picture and want to be coached and want to be able to be like, man, I kind of dropped the ball there and I was, emotional or whatever. And so, for us that we just get the opportunity to kind of move on to someone who wants that. And that's the opportunity.
So how has running the Kings maybe changed your vision of athletes and like maybe how people act as athletes in this last season or so? Did maybe, piggybacking off of that conversation, were there other things besides maybe someone willing to scrap the whole thing off of principles, perhaps? Anything else that maybe surprised you managing athletes?
Yeah, I learning about managing fighters. So my son played collegiate level soccer. I helped coach. We ran these clubs. So like we actually started a club. My son went to the national tournament 5 years in a row, which was unheard of in the soccer world, especially our little city. And I've, been on the medical team for Gonzaga University for over a decade. I've worked with professional collegiate Olympians, like in every step of the way. But in the fight world, this is what's different. Fighters are used to fighting everybody. And they're going to fight their trainer, they're going to fight their coach, because they're in this mindset like I got to fight this guy in the ring or I got to fight this guy on the mat. So a lot of dudes get like locked into this like, man, I'm going to just make everybody's life miserable because I'm going to fight tooth and nail every step of the way. So managing grapplers who've not really participated in team sports is a little bit of a different ball game. And this is where Travis is so unique because Travis came from the team sports world. So he played high level football, he played high level baseball, right? And had the opportunity to, play collegiately. So he had the right mindset, but a lot of these jujitsu dudes, especially these kids who get put on really young, they get hyper focused, like you're the star, you're the star, you're the star, you're the star. Coming into a team environment might be a little tricky for them. So that's where, we might be a little biased and might be pulling a lot of wrestlers in who've been used to grappling in a team format and will coach the jujitsu.
And Travis, so you want to go hit the batting cages with me and Keelan next season? We did it last time,
Absolutely,
right?
dude.
Did you see that?
Absolutely.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot to invite you, man. We went over there and
Yeah.
did that. It was pretty fun, man. Just
Dude,
something to break up the day one day, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I would love to go hit some balls, man.
Yeah, man. We
Dang,
found a
I
place.
might even be down to take some grounders in the infield, dude.
Look. I got a fungo. I'm gonna bring it. We should go
Just
do some
throw one to
fungos.
first,
I'm
bro.
down.
Let's go.
Let's get it. Oh my god, this season's gonna be so fun.
It's gonna be so fun.
I'm in.
Yeah, I think Kevin brings up a really good point on the team atmosphere and the solo athlete atmosphere. You can definitely tell that some of the guys when they hear something be said to them or something doesn't go their way, that it's very offensive to them as an athlete because, like he said, they fight everybody and they are the only person who can make themselves win. To where something that Ricky and Pedro really implemented into us in season 5 or in season 6,
Seven.
season 7 was that we were going to be a team, that New Hope was the team, and we were all going to be with each other, and we all had each other's back. He really pushed, like, hey, when it's game day, when you guys are here, sit with each other, talk to each other. Don't talk with the other teams. Don't let their energy get into our team, because this is what we're establishing and this is what we want, because we are a team. And we're not going to win with just one individual. Luckily, we had Ryan, who could have won the season by himself, right? But at the same time, Ryan didn't go off and just leave us as a solo athlete. He poured back into the team, which gave up. I mean, if we look at Brad Snyder's first day and he doesn't have a coach like Ricky or another athlete like Ryan, maybe Brad Snyder has a really shitty week, right? Maybe he takes those 3 losses and he's like, I'm done. I can't do it. He goes in the next day, gets hurt, or just loses out. But like, we had a team who built each other up. And we had Ernesto, who was going to be an alternate, Cam, who people thought wasn't going to be anything, Brad, that we got for $100, Travis, who maybe is just a standout in season 5. And man, our whole team did great. And you could tell by day 3 that we had won the tournament. And if you ever walked in the back, our team was sitting together. If you ever seen us after, our team was eating together. And that was super important for that season.
Yeah.
How much of that was influenced by you, Kevin, in that season? How much of that was you trying to make sure that the guys were already getting together like that, and you were maybe before you knew this was happening, kind of ushering this thing into being?
Yeah, I'm gonna not take a lot of credit for that season, because that was my first official like year of like, oh, I'm not just helping throw some money at it, but actually running a team, now being there, supporting all that. But that was Ricky and Pedro, right, and the guys.
Okay.
They made that decision, and so then seeing that opportunity and then what that did for the group as a whole was really powerful. And I was still kind of feeling it out, right? Come out for season 5, season 6, I was a sponsor for PGF, and then season 7, having a team. I was still kind of like, what can I do? What can I not do? Everybody's going to think I'm lame for, talking boring stuff like team and goals. And so I let the coaches really manage that overall. But all behind the scenes, Ricky, Pedro, and I really worked a lot of that together. So, but that was mostly Ricky and Pedro with the guys.
Yeah, and going back to where you asked earlier, how do we keep these guys out of temptation, or how do we keep these guys all together as a team? Somebody like Ricky, with that level of coaching, that level of like mentality building, that's a huge part, man. I think that's going to be a really big difference, especially in like seasons and seasons to come, as we keep Ricky and we establish this team and we start to build this legacy. You'll start to see, I honestly believe you'll start to see that we go way above and beyond all the other teams. We become that Alabama 14 years in a row national championship team, just because the level of leadership that we have on the team. Every single one of us is looking to do everything that we can and more to make sure that our athletes have what they need and have what they want, and all those things.
Yeah. And this is from a leadership level. Like Brandon and I, we're talking day before yesterday, and we were really talking about, we get the opportunity to bring in other owners that want to participate at a high level and want to lead at a high level, because that's what it's going to take for this thing to be successful, right? In order to really get the buy-in, it's really got to be other owners that want to see people really develop and lead their team as a whole. And if you just have some guy coming in that's worth $1 billion and $1 million to him is nothing, and it's just the next financial opportunity, they're going to struggle because the community of the PGF is family team oriented. And if you can't lock that in from the get-go, man, your team is not going to, and it's not going to get the following, right? Like, I don't care like who you are. I mean, the bad NFL teams still have their loyal, diehard, followers, and just to come in and think that you're going to be able to just throw $1 gazillion at something, and maybe you have success for a window, but you're not going to create a legacy program.
And so we have a thing in the comments, and you don't have to answer any part of this necessarily, I guess, if you don't want to. But so Paradox Training Centers asked, I realize the long-term goal for owners is to have positive cash flow. Is there a plan for owners to make a modest return on investment, or at least break even in the interim? Is it strictly going to be long-term?
That's a good question.
And that's to say, you could answer any or none of that if you want to. It was in the comments.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was an interesting, at least, thing to put out there.
Here, Waylo asked me a good question a little earlier. What is kind of like an unforeseen thing? People, the general public, because we're saying it is the Professional Grappling Federation and it is a franchise sports entity, people are going to assume and think it's going to function like the NFL is functioning today. And it's not. You have to go back to what was the NFL like in the 40s and the 50s, right? What was the NBA like in the 60s and the 70s? And dudes didn't start making $10 million contracts really as a common play. I mean, still today, the average wage in the NFL is like $450,000 a year is the average minimum. This idea that everybody's out there making $50 million a year contracts. And so from an entrepreneurial or a business perspective, sometimes people get a little bit sideways too. They're just like, oh, well, like right away it's going to be making money. And maybe not, but in honesty, and I'm super, transparent and consistent, in my story, because it makes life easy that way. But until we can get to a spot where we can get butts and seats, the economic return is going to take a little bit longer, right? Because if you just look at, how is revenue being generated for the teams if you're not getting butts and seats, you're not getting beverage sales, you're not getting, food sales, t-shirt sales, and you can put your shit on your website all you want, and you can make some pretty dope Instagram posts all you want, but there's a difference between when I go, like my local minor league hockey team, Pensacola Ice Flyers. We all got a sweatshirt. We all got a freaking jersey. We all got the popcorn every single week, right? So those have to be part of that as a core. And as that's developing, we get the opportunity to invest, and it's delayed gratification. But here's the reality of a franchise, right? If I go buy a Subway, here's what most people don't know. I don't take profit until year 5. The first 3 years, I make $0 because every penny goes back into paying for the franchise. Year 4, I might make 70 grand, and it's not until year 5 that I'm going to average between 125 to 170 a year as the owner to take home. So why would we think that this is going to be the same as that, especially when it's being developed right now? So what I want people to know is, I would tell, if you have a heart for jiu-jitsu and for leading other people, the PGF, but also you get the opportunity to help set the tone. Just imagine starting the NFL, imagine starting baseball, imagine starting the MLS. Look at what they said about soccer for all of recorded history until 15 years ago. And now look at all of these places coming in with their own dedicated soccer stadium of 30 to 40,000 people in attendance.
But yeah, Isaac said that the other night. Isaac said, soccer sucks. Why are all these people watching soccer? What do you think it is, Kevin?
Why? I'm a soccer junkie, so
why do you love it? So what makes you a soccer junkie?
He said, "Hold the hell up."
No, that's what I'm saying, though. But like, you didn't play soccer growing up, did you?
I did. Yeah,
you did. So you grew up playing soccer.
I grew up playing soccer,
and so that's what made you. Is that the majority of the fandom of soccer? Is it people who played growing up?
No, in the United States, I think it's a thinking person's. It's like jiu-jitsu. Like, you have to pay attention to everything all of the time. It's not just all 11 or 22 dudes line up, learn your role, run through that gap. Like you're learning a played algorithm. Like it's constantly changing in the moment, like jujitsu is. So you have to constantly be critically thinking all of the time, and it requires a high level of awareness. And people can believe what they want to believe or not, but why is it the number one sports income generator on the planet?
No, that's the question. Is like,
Right.
why is it? For those of us who
Yeah.
don't know the sport, someone like myself who grew up not playing soccer, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's not entertaining to me because I see it as guys are playing almost like segmented off 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 kind of games until it gets to another spot where somebody else is doing sort of the same, because I don't understand it.
Right.
And that's
well, and why does jiu-jitsu have such a low fan base outside of jiu-jitsu nerds?
That's the answer, right?
It's the same, right? Until you kind of learn and until it's made more entertaining, it's not going to, really go anywhere, right? But if we didn't say, and this is a whole other, I don't want to derail it, but if football didn't get 6 points and 3 points counted for their scores, how many games would be 1 or 2-0? Or 3-0, right? So it's this so in America, we had to attach 6 points to a touchdown because Americans are kind of retarded sometimes and are like, oh, well, no, that was a high scoring game of this number. Well, no, if it was 1 like it was for soccer, like what would the score have really been? So that's a whole other conversation.
I think
that's weird. That's crazy. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, I think
so 2-1 would be like 14-7 or something.
There you go.
Oh my god,
retards!
I think you see the same thing in golf as well. Golf isn't very exciting. There's not. I mean, somebody might hit a hole in one every. I don't even know how, like the likelihood of that, but I just looked it up. Golf has 450 million fans worldwide, and it's a game that people walk in polo shirts and hit a ball and drive a golf cart to. I think
people will drop $50,000 to go watch the Masters.
Yeah. I think there's some sort of prestige to golf, and it's something that I notice in soccer. Something in soccer that I notice why people watch is, man, the scoring is less, or like Kevin says, it's about the same, but I would say it's a little bit less. But when that guy gets a goal and he's allowed to go run, rip his shirt off and slide, the fans go crazy. And it's like this feeling of excitement that soccer brings to the fans, and then the fans can go with that too. And I don't know how they've done it, but their fans are fans. I have heard some crazy stories about people losing games and like, hey, you do not want to go down this street because their team just lost,
Bro, let me tell you, in Puerto Rico, basketball, it's like that.
Yeah.
It's like that. Like there's the Coliseums are obviously smaller than the arenas here. And 5,000 people, 6,000 people in a small spot, it just feels like this thing is gonna cave at any moment. And they're just as wild. I mean, you have music, you have congas going, you got fans on one side, the other fans on the other.
So is it American sports? Did we like homogenize sports too much in America? Is that what's kind of happened to a degree?
Bro,
we've taken away a lot of that kind of entertainment parts of it, like that. Or am I misreading what you guys are saying? Maybe.
I don't know. It's like the passion for the sport is different.
You get flagged in a lot of the stuff in America, right? Or it's like a penalty, or they'll come after you, if you over celebrate something a lot in American.
Well, I mean, the refs have a lot of control in American sports, right? Like in basketball, like you got to plan for 15 extra points because the refs are going to fuck it up at some point, right? There's going to be a flow in the game where if you don't have 15 bonus points, like you're just going to lose because the refs are, going to just, get in the way of that. And so what I'm excited about with the PGF is finding this balance to where action, let's let the dudes like do what they need to do, but also like, and PGF broke my brain. When I had to go back to some other promotions and watch someone hold someone in half guard for 7 minutes and then they win by an advantage point, I literally was like, how do I keep giving them all this money? Like to spend all this money to have a vendor booth and to sponsor and to do the thing.
You don't.
Season 5 broke my brain. Like, Brandon, thank you very much. Keelan, thank you guys very much. And it was so hard to, and now I'm not saying I can't honor and respect, and it's like amazing. And, you know, in the gi guys are, you know, so talented and they can do what they can do. But do you know how many matches you go at some of these promotions and some of these big events, and some dude literally just held someone in half guard for 5 minutes and 50 seconds. And if it was a black belt match and they get 8 minutes, they did that for 7 minutes and 30 seconds because they got their advantage point. Like, how, like that had me like, how are you showcasing your skill set as a fighter by holding someone and not demonstrating what this beautiful thinking man's game is? And that's, again, just another reason I just am so in love with the PGF is like, how do you not come watch a night of the PGF and be like, oh my gosh, it's changing everything.
I was talking to Nunchuck before we started and basically told him the same thing. He's like, I don't watch anything else anymore. Like,
Yeah,
I don't watch the UFC. I just got rid of Fight Pass, so whatever was there, I'm like, PGF, that's it.
Dude, check this out. So the Auburn qualifier had 100% submission rate. I think one penalty, maybe.
wow.
100% submission rate.
Yeah. I think real quick, back to the question about the investment, and I can't say much because I'm not a penny in. I'm a lot of time in, right? And I guess I could say I'm some money in from staying in Vegas and having to, you know, feed myself or do stuff like that. But like actual money, I haven't put anything into the PGF. But I think this is why it's so important that everybody is Team PGF, and why they're vetting new owners is if people come in here and they try to establish their own thing, it is going to be harder to build this investment back, right? You're on your own and you could do it maybe, but like, this is why everybody's Team PGF. The bigger the PGF gets, the easier that then becomes, right? We're investing into the PGF so that the PGF becomes big. As the Kings, we're going to try to do our best to be as big as we can so that everybody flows back into the PGF, if that makes sense.
Bro, you guys are building legacy. That's all I got from all this. It's legacy. I mean,
Legacy.
and you guys are doing a great job. I mean, who else is doing this?
Not Fleroy
Yeah.
Brown.
Oh, oh, shots fired.
And clip.
Sorry. That's for Fleroy. That's right. He said it. That's two shots. That's two for you, Fleroy.
Well, I have a question for you guys. I'm gonna flip the script a little bit. What do you guys want to see from a team as a whole, and what do you guys maybe hope to see for the Kings? Like us, love us, indifferent. What do you guys want to see? Like, if you could say, hey, Kevin, as a team owner, man, here's what I would ask for as a fan.
Oh, I'll throw in there.
Go ahead, bro.
So one big thing, right? You know, you called it out already. Fight sports capital of the world, Las Vegas. Just any kind of thing to get your name out the more with any kind of events, whether it's local tournaments outside of the season, or even just anything, right? Super seminars, whatever it is, but just ways to kind of, you know, infiltrate right to the local Las Vegas combat sports scene. You know, what's cool about this is while, yes, we have off seasons in the PGF, there still shouldn't be anything stopping you guys from just, again, having something out there so that you stay on people's memories, right? Because think about right now, you know, everyone's thinking PGF because the season is coming up, but think about those dark periods, right? You know, the blackouts when nothing is going
Kings Open.
Yep. Something out there because you guys have something amazing that, you know, this also just helps instill your identity out there more so you can show people just because it's off season doesn't mean the Kings are taking a break. You know, the Kings always got to run the kingdom. So this is just that one way to keep that going.
Yeah, Miggy, I really appreciate that. And now that we know that the season is going to be at now that we have like, okay, every year, here's when the season is, we now get to plan for rest of the season and we get the opportunity to, we have some really cool things coming down the pipe. We have a bunch of different, I'm just going to kind of throw this out there for you guys just to kind of salivate a little bit. We're going to be working, some different camps. Man, if you've been in the GI, how do you learn the PGF rule set?
Nice.
What's the difference between like competing in other no-gi events versus I want to actually work towards being in the PGF legitimately? Being able to put together, we're doing family events, we're doing different levels of kids, from like how do we move them from elementary school to junior high to now you're a jet and you have some skills or you need a little bit more time. So that's a lot of what we're dialing in and we're putting together. Some of that we're going to be able to take on the road, and we're going to be able to take it to different cities. We're going to be working on bringing athletes and past athletes to help like specific PGF engagement and rule sets, and how do you level yourself up. So Miggy, I really appreciate that's a big one, and we're definitely putting those things into play. We want to bring wrestlers in, we want to bring the MMA guys in, right? Because think about this. Let's say you're a parent and you're looking for, your kid loves combat sports, but CTE is a real thing. Like, how do but man, I've been to some other promotions and I stood around and watched people hold each other for 10 minutes. That's boring. I don't really want to do that. So there's so much opportunity for us to come into the community as a whole. And we're going to be doing dinner events, we're going to be doing fun events outside of jiu-jitsu with the Kings and the community, but we really want to grow PGF, and we do that by giving access to everybody, and we have a bunch of different seminars and camps that we're going to be working and putting together.
Yeah, we got a really good team with a lot of people that have foundations in their own realm, as Kevin, owning and operating several different businesses to a successful point. We have Ricky Lundell, who's made it from never going to play a high school sport to being a collegiate wrestler. We have athletes like me and Cam and Jet who have been a part of the PGF and get to be a part of the team. So we get to bring all of our brains together, and then we get to make these events, and we get to just really knock them out of the park. And we get to be there for the community, for the kids, for the parents, for the kids. We're really excited about a lot of things that we have. And whenever you guys hear them, we'll definitely give you guys the inside scoop when they're coming, because we know you guys like the inside information. We got some really, really cool ideas in the loop.
Yeah. Wait, Trav, how cool was that? Just the kids seminar that we kind of, threw together in an impromptu fashion. We had 100 kids at the mat at Professor Humalo, Carlson Gracie Henderson, which is where we're hosting the qualifier. We're actually going to be doing a kids tournament the first half of the day, and then we'll be doing the qualifier in the evening. And it's the last qualifier of the year. For those of you that, maybe didn't win your qualifier and you're looking for an opportunity to come out, January 24th will be the last one, but next week is December 20th. And we're just very fortunate that we got some really great people supporting us in the community. Professor Hamalo is, we're going to be running it at his beautiful academy right across from the Raiders training facility out in Henderson. This place is, you're like looking out the front door of the jiu-jitsu, windows all over, and then you see the rate, like nothing. Man, I'm so excited I will always live here in Navarre, but man, I'm tempted a little bit to almost move to Las Vegas to be out there full time, because we just are getting to do some really, really cool stuff with some really cool people who are amazing human beings.
Yeah. So throughout the season, the Kings wanted to make sure that we had what we called leadership days. It was usually every Tuesday before the PGF, and we would get together with the athletes. We would teach them either whether it was financial help, whether it was just like, raw leadership help, or it was just a fun day. So we had a bunch of different events, but something that we really wanted to do was make sure that we bled back into the community. I know something that's really weighs heavy on my heart, and I would speak for Kevin to say the same. And this is like something that kind of brought us together. Obviously, Kevin's a super awesome person, but when I heard this about his story, it's what brought me near. Was, you know, we want to make sure that we give back just like we've been given to as well. So we set up a day where we had the Kings come and do a seminar for all the kids, and man, just the level of excitement in the kids when Jet came up to teach a back take, or Juan came up to just tell them what was going on, or any of the athletes. And like, these kids really didn't even know what these guys were, but they've been watching the PGF because we told them. And man, every single kid was like, how do I get a rash guard? How do I get a shirt? Can I take a picture? When can I come to the PGF? How do I get on? And like you guys were saying earlier to the Little Twisters event, like, man, that's the next generation, and those are the kids that are going to eventually be doing what we are doing. And we want to set we want to set that foundation for them to be able to do that and really just give back to these kids.
Nunchuck, anything you have for Kevin?
Oh man, so I guess one thing, I keep going back to that Auburn qualifier, but the kid that won it is 17 years old. He's pretty impressive. I know his last name is Salisbury. They were calling him like TV
dinner.
Salisbury.
Yeah. So like, I know that a lot of these guys are kind of, the more established guys are kind of like set in their ways or whatever, but these younger guys are more moldable. And you guys were talking about, having those leadership meetings and stuff like that. How do you, do you look forward to like maybe getting some younger guys and kind of molding them into that? I know you guys have one qualifier coming up, so you got three people on your team so far. I know that's probably privileged information.
We were allowed to have this season. We were allowed to have 2 set players for this season.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the rest is all drafted.
So we have Cam and Jet are our 2 designated Kings so far, and the 3 others have to come from the draft. We actually ran this through AI algorithm, and what we did was we said, okay, if you got like Gordon Ryan and Nicky Rod at 2 out of 5, what is the possibility of your team, like, and if they got max points every match, like what was the percentage that team would win? And if we did 3 selected players and you got 3 top tier athletes, it was like 85% chance that team would win out. But if it was only 2 people, it was like a 30% chance that team would win out. So until we have more teams and it's a little more teams can just draft all of their own players. Back to your question though, I love the idea of being able to help younger guys have a roadmap who are coachable and teachable. I mean, I just, that's what someone did for me. I had some really amazing, business mentors and personal development people that really took me under their wing and taught me stuff that I didn't get the opportunity to learn earlier. And so, if we can sometimes it's one decision in life that puts us on a more functional path than less functional path, and life is hard. Like, we get bumped off so easy, like one car accident, one divorce, one family member going the sideways, myself going sideways, this, like, I got to a spot where I was so stressed out from work stuff and business stuff that I let my health and wellness kind of take a back seat. I gained like 40 pounds, and so I'm getting the opportunity to work back from that and making some great headway. And so not that we just want younger dudes. I'm so happy to have Cam, but it's a blend of leadership and mature people showing what's possible to the younger guys. So then those younger guys, because I want my ceiling to be your floor, right? So like if this is my top that I could produce, what can I share with you that has you starting here, instead of like, what do I got to do to get to that point? So that's someone, not me. I didn't come up with that, but my dream is for my children or my team or whoever it happens to be. My ceiling is your floor that you can build on. And if we can do that to younger and younger generations, I believe jiu-jitsu is the way, aside from a good relationship with God, jiu-jitsu is how we turn this freaking country back around. Men have been told like we're worthless, where our masculinity is a threat to everything. Like all of that has been intentionally put into play. The whole reason I have my stem cell business is every day I get to help another coach or another jiu-jitsu athlete stay on the mats. They're there for their teammates. This program that is the PGF, every day that we can show this as something everybody can strive for, like that's how we change this culture moving forward, right? Because there's shit that you learn in jiu-jitsu that you're never going to learn on a basketball court, you're never going to learn on a football field, you're never going to learn on a soccer pitch, right? And jiu-jitsu is something special, and that's why we're just so heavily invested in growing it. So Nunchuck, that was a great question.
Yeah. To add on that, I think, especially for now, why the PGF is still in its growth phase and we're figuring the ins and outs. Like we are looking for people who are coachable, and it's more or less going to be the young guys. A lot of the older guys are established in their ways. And like he said, if an older guy who is established wants to come over and he wants to learn and be coachable, we'll definitely take him. But hopefully what we can build is the system to where we have the elementary schools, the middle schools, the high schools feeding into college, which is then feeding into the PGF. So eventually we get to the older guys, but the older guys have seen the establishment of the Kings, or they've seen the establishment of the Twisters, and they get to choose what they want their trajectory to be. How do I want to act as an athlete? Because the Twisters is a perfect fit for Elijah Carlton. And I'm not saying anything about Elijah. I love his personality, right? But I don't think that that's exactly what we're looking for as the Kings. There's a vast difference from a Jet Thompson and an Elijah Carlton, right? And neither one is better in anybody's eyes, but what we're looking to build for the Kings is more of a Jet Thompson. So you get to, as a kid, see the establishment of what it is, and then eventually you'll get to grow into what you want to be.
Yeah. And thank God. Some people think we're boring as hell, and that's okay. And we're not enough of a party to be around, and that's totally fine and good. And this is I'm so grateful to Brandon and Keelan and Zoe and Grace for giving us the opportunity to have this garden. And if you like hot peppers and ghost peppers, and like that's what you want your garden to be spicy as all get out, fantastic. If you want cool as a cucumber, and like that's what you can focus on. And as long as we're all working towards growing the PGF from a legacy perspective, we need all flavors in the garden, right? Like, and to me, this is biblical, because God put us on the earth to tend the garden. That's what he did. Adam, go tend the garden. You get the opportunity to manage this whole thing. You can name everything. You can cultivate it. You can harvest it. And we're getting to do that. How many people get the opportunity to truly live something that is so spiritual and is so, it's a universal truth, right? And we get to do that with the PGF. Can you imagine, like, oh, I'm going to help grow the NFL? Like we get to do that. How wild is that?
Yeah. With saying my last statement, that the PGF wouldn't be the same without Elijah. So again, no hit to Elijah at all.
Oh, no backtracking now. No. Oh, hell no. Hell no.
We're clipping this and starting some shit between y'all.
Yeah, dude. It's going to be a 4-second video of like,
at least
I mean, we don't want Elijah.
Right. We are going to stir the pot there.
Yeah, for sure. But
okay.
Like for me, going back to your question, Kevin, what I would like from a fan standpoint is I just want to be there. I want to go nuts and have my King's towel, like, I want to buy your merch. I want to buy T-shirts. I want to buy your hats. I want to buy your hoodie and your warm up and your kit. That's what I like from a fan's, point of view. It's like, I love all that shit. I love theatrics, and I love stuff that represents the team. Amen. I mean, I wear this hat all the time. I mean,
you're gonna be a jiu-jitsu hooligan.
Yeah,
I like it. The jiu-jitsu hooligan. That's anyway, great. Miggy, what from a fan base? What would you want to see from your team or from the Kings?
Right. So another thing there too. I know some teams really were doing like the Phenoms. They have like a Patreon kind of thing. And rather than just, I know some people Patreon's good if you're dedicated as a fan base, but just, blast me with content, right? Get to the point where you do not have to pay for ads per se, so that if I open up Instagram right now, I want the Kings to pop up for me, right? And it doesn't always have to be that serious thing where we're showing, hey, this is our identity, but give us some funnies or even show us behind the scenes. Like you mentioned, Leadership Tuesdays. That is a
Yeah.
great thing too, to push that on your culture, right? Because Travis mentioned some great things, and he played collegiate sports, right? And I know before game days and stuff, you have like that team briefing where it's more like, don't be a dumbass this week, kids. This stuff like that, especially in Vegas. If you guys put that thing out there, even go what you said, Kevin, about making sure that men are shown that they're cared for, that we're not being demasculated, but show them like, having that honest talk. Like, look at Coach Prime Deion Sanders. Back when he's in Colorado, one of my favorite things he ever did was pulled up his athletes. I think he brought like Instagram model, and he told them, look, guys, a lot of girls look like this, but they're not going to treat you great. They're going to try and get you to ruin what you already have. Those small things, man, I think that's even more phenomenal to really spread that message out of what what you want the identity of your franchise to be. And that alone can have hits on the socials, and even to just promoting that, because not many people promote that nowadays, feels like.
Right.
Think about how often teams get ostracized. Like, I live in Washington State. There was a coach in my county a few years back who did an optional after the game prayer at the 50-yard line. He ended up getting into some shit and fired. And again, he even said it was optional. He never forced it on his kids. And in sports, typically people do tend to lean religiously. So nothing wrong with it. It was a thing of unity. I think even other teams were involved, but someone didn't like it and blah, blah, blah. But if you guys provide some sort of platform to show people, hey, we don't care your creed, your color, whatever, we're just showing you how to live a better life, so that, like you said earlier, my ceiling is your floor. We're here to help you. I think too, man, that would be phenomenal to really pinpoint to people. Oh man, I know the Kings are more than just grapplers. These guys they're truly living up to the word king. And I think that'd be a phenomenal thing to have.
Awesome. And I feel your pain. I'm from Spokane. So that's where we moved from. We moved to Florida 8 years ago and fled the left coast. So
All right, before we go, any final thoughts? Anything that you want to leave the people with? Travis, you go first.
Yeah, man. I would love for everybody who hasn't been able to check out the PGF to, one, check it out. Two, man, if you're looking to be an athlete on the PGF, you can always reach out to me. You could reach out to anybody on the Insiders. I would love to give you all the knowledge that I have about the PGF, and give you a vetting system of what it's going to be like. Thank you guys very much for letting us come on here. The Insiders are always a great show, and honestly, I can't wait to do the next one.
Yeah,
Kevin?
I just thank you guys so much. For all the listeners that are listening, and for you guys having us on tonight. We can always go get another job and make more money, but we don't get our time back. So the fact that we just got to spend time with you guys, like literally, truly, is means everything to me, and I'm so grateful, so appreciative, and we just can't wait for you guys to see what's coming up for this 2026 season. The extended opportunities, the camps, the seminars, the individual coaching, the leadership, the King's leadership programs we're putting together. So here's going to be a really cool thing that I want to drop right now when it gets ready to launch, is that we're going to have a King's leadership organization that isn't just if you're a King's athlete playing on that season that year. We're opening up, personal development, business development, jiu-jitsu development, in all that whole circle. And so, if you want to come be a King, you're going to be able to get to do that, whether you are on the PGF on the show or not.
Right on. Nunchuck, anything you want to add before we go?
Oh man, thanks for having me on. It's always fun to participate in the shenanigans, and yeah, man, PGF over everybody.
Dream, take us home.
Man, I don't want to necessarily hijack the show. Thank you guys for coming on, but this was a little bit of a special weekend in some ways, a little bittersweet in some ways for myself. People come through and they inspire you in lots of ways. People do stuff. They can show you how to be a good person. They can coach you on the mats. They can lead by example. Lots of things like that. People can go up there and rah, and do a lot of things like that. But the person that was really special for me retired this weekend. He had his last tournament. Richie Boogeyman Martinez, my coach. He won IBJJF Worlds. Second title for him. Something very important. He's worked very hard for a long time. A lot of the stuff you guys said, being a good example, a good person, a good leader, and demonstrating how we should be in this world of jiu-jitsu. man, I owe you a lot. I owe you everything, and thank you for being that person for me and choosing me to be one of your black belts. Um, I'll forever be proud of you, and I love you.
Oh, dude,
Yeah, yeah.
we'll put my rubber guard up.
Listen, I don't want to say that that I'm crying or anything, but there's definitely a little moisture in my eyes.
Nah, my eyes are just sweating, bro.
No, that's
Guys, thank you
actually
so much.
super awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's super awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. This has been Behind the Kings. We'll see you
Yo.
later.